going to show them how I made this puzzle. First, I Googled rectangle with curved edges and I uploaded that into Design Space. I then sized it to the size of the wood that I thought that I was going to have, which ended up being about 11.5 by almost 8. I then duplicated that so you'll have a base and then you're going to have a piece that we're going to cut the letters out of. I then opened a text box, typed in my nephew's name, and I centered that, changed it to white so I could see it, then changed it to the font that I wanted and had to change that back to white. I moved it over and you can select line spacing and you can lower the line spacing or higher it to bring your letters together. You can also ungroup, but this is easier for me, so this is the option that I chose. I then placed the letters on top of the top board, sized it to fit the entire board, selected both of those, aligned it and centered it, and then I select both of those again and I slice it. I remove the two pieces. I will delete one of them I don't need. I then ungroup here because I thought that I used a different wood that ended up being very bendy, so it didn't work out for me for this puzzle. So here I am ungrouping. This is unnecessary. I actually used 3 sheets of wood to do this. The wood came from Amazon. The link will be in the description. I have a maker and I use the knife blade for this also. Here I am saving my project. Save your project. I've lost my projects before. You never want to lose your project. I then hit make it. I changed the size of the materials to 9 by 12 because that was the closest thing that I had. I'm now going to browse all my materials and I typed in base and I selected the 1.6. This ended up cutting through my mat, so on my last cut I actually used the 0.08 and ran it a couple more times and it was much gentler on my mat. Here I didn't show it, but I used a brayer. It definitely, if you have something like a brayer, it definitely helps. There was one sheet that I didn't use a brayer on and I messed up, which I was able to salvage for my last piece where I cut the letters out. This 1.6 is 14 passes. The 0.08 is 18 passes. It did take me 2 hours to cut all 3 sheets out. And my nephew's name is only 10 letters. So this is the bottom solid piece. We will then cut, here's where I actually taped the bottom of my mat to try and salvage it because it was the only one that I had. Here is where we will cut out the top part of the puzzle with the letters completely cut out, and that gives us 1 layer of the letters. And on the last sheet, we cut another layer of the letters, which will be glued together. And this will be glued to that bottom piece. I use Gorilla Wood Glue. I'm open to tips and suggestions. Anything that will help. This worked for me. I sanded everything down. Be super careful when you are sanding it down because the wood is extremely delicate. Here I'm wiping wood chips that are coming out all over the place. I did have a couple letters here that I had to clean up, but then I did sand everything down and I used acrylic paint. I watered it down so it was more like a stain and didn't create a thick layer to make the puzzle pieces be hard to get in and out. The puzzle is thin. It's not a very thick puzzle. It's Cricut. What can you do? Any questions? Leave them in the comments. I'll answer them.